Barb, let's start with this newest witness, Noelle Dunphy. What is it that she can potentially offer?
Well, I think she could offer some real blockbuster testimony. One, she was very close to Rudy Giuliani, who himself was very close to Donald Trump. I mean, very much his right hand throughout all of the planning for what was going on in the 2020 election. So that alone gives her access. But then this other allegation in the complaint that says she had access to all of Giuliani's email and lists all the people that she was able to communicate with, that she saw the communications between them and Giuliani himself, could be a real treasure trove for prosecutors, for Jack Smith in the special counsel.
I just gotta say, the fact that we still have new names entering the chat, right? Like, just when you think we've met all the characters that we're possibly going to meet, the fact that there are new people popping up with new information is really remarkable.
Yes, it really is. I mean, it just shows you the extent of which a lot of this happened. I mean, you would think that she would have been a witness for, for congressional probes and everything else coming before this time. But I think what we're seeing is really important is that one of these investigations or one lawsuit impacts some other investigation and another. The fact that she has all of these emails, the fact that she heard conversations about selling pardons, all of this has ties into all of the other multiple investigations that are going, both civil and criminal. At the same time, there's never an end to what's happening. But at the same time, a point that we made, there's also has to be a stop point, right? We keep getting new information, but we're also waiting for something to actually happen, some indictment to be issued, we have a civil judgment, but at some point you have to stop doing the investigation, you have to start moving forward.
Which is why this Fani Willis news out of Georgia, I think, felt so big to people, because I constantly ask all four of you for timeline. None of you are ever willing to give me timelines because you have learned your lessons. But the fact that we are now zoning in on the end of August, early September, what does it tell you, Jill, this notion of shutting down the courthouse for 2 weeks?
One thing it tells me is I'm a little worried about it. First of all, the fact that we have to even consider that there would be violence attached to any indictment is horrible and frightening. And it makes me wonder if she did the right thing in announcing it this way. I think there were alternatives that she could have used to secretly notify people and make some changes. This is like saying to the Trump acolytes, here's a time when you should be available to be in Georgia and to take action. So it makes me a little nervous, but it does say, one, she is going to return indictments. She would not have done this if there wasn't going to be an indictment. And it seems to me likely it has to be an indictment of the former president. If it was anyone else, it wouldn't have merited this kind of warning. So I think that I'm not going to plan any vacations in August. I'm going to plan to be around to make sure that I see what's happening. And I think everybody in the audience should be doing the same thing.
Joyce, there was a question from the audience, which is a common question that I get from the audience, which is, if Fani Willis does in fact bring an indictment, and you also have the special counsel bring an indictment, how do those cases interact with each other? How do they proceed?
It's a really interesting question, and it's not an uncommon situation where you have state and federal prosecutions that overlap. Prosecutors and courts are very good at coordinating with each other and making decisions about who will go first. But in Georgia, there's actually the prospect that if Fani Willis does file charges, the former president could file a motion to remove those charges into federal court. That's not something that we see too often, but when you have a federal employee or a former employee who wants to assert uniquely federal defenses, and I feel certain Trump will, then they're authorized to seek this removal. In other words, we could end up with a lot of different cases in federal court. Jack Smith, I don't think the special counsel will indict Trump in the Northern District of Georgia. But if you do have multiple cases all in the federal system, it makes coordination much easier.